When the Celts looked to the sky, they did not see a silent expanse of stars. They saw a living map, a cosmic calendar that revealed the rhythms of time, the will of the gods, and the destiny of the human soul. For them, Samhain was not simply the end of harvest. It was a precise moment in the astronomical cycle, a turning point hidden between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. In that space of time, when light yielded to darkness, the Celts believed the cosmos itself was speaking. But astronomy was never separate from mythology. Every shift of the sun and stars was woven into story. Darkness was not just the absence of light, but a realm where spirits moved and gods waged battles. The cycles of the heavens became the cycles of life, death, and rebirth on Earth. This episode invites us to step into that world, a world where astronomy, myth, and spirituality were inseparable. By tracing the cosmic foundations of Samhain, we uncover how the Celts aligned their lives with the stars and how their stories carried the wisdom of the universe. Long before telescopes and modern science, the Celts were careful observers of the heavens. They lived in landscapes where the horizon stretched wide and clear, and the movements of the sun, moon, and stars became their teachers. Over generations, this patient watching turned into wisdom, a deep understanding of cosmic cycles that guided daily life. The Celts marked the rising and setting points of the sun, noticing how its path shifted with the seasons. They followed the waxing and waning of the moon, using its phases to measure time and ritual. Stars and constellations were more than distant lights. They were signs, symbols, and sometimes deities. To look at the sky was to look into a living book, one that told both the present and the future. Sacred sites across Celtic lands bear witness to this cosmic awareness. At Newgrange in Ireland, a passage tomb built over 5,000 years ago aligns with the rising sun of the winter solstice, flooding its inner chamber with light. Stone circles and hilltop monuments, scattered across Britain and Ireland, echo the same purpose: to track the heavens and fix human life within its order. For the Celts, skywatching was not separate from spirituality. Observing the heavens was itself a sacred act, a way of listening to the language of the cosmos and finding humanity's place within it. Samhain was not chosen at random. It marked a very specific point in the cosmic calendar, the midpoint between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. The Celts divided the year into two halves, the light half and the dark half. Samhain stood at the threshold, signaling the beginning of the dark. The equinox had brought balance, when day and night were equal. The solstice would bring the longest night of the year. Samhain lay between them, across quarter day, invisible on the modern calendar, but deeply meaningful in the ancient one. At this moment, light was retreating and darkness was growing, and the Celts believed this cosmic transition affected both the land and the soul. This was not only a matter of astronomy, but of survival. As the sun's power waned, crops had been gathered, animals were brought in, and communities prepared for the long winter. The cycle of the heavens was directly tied to the cycle of life and death. Samhain represented this connection, the fading of one phase and the preparation for another. For the Celts, to mark Samhain was to align themselves with the universe. It was a recognition that humanity did not stand apart from cosmic rhythms, but moved within them. The sun's journey through the seasons was mirrored in the journey of every living being. The Celts did not see the sun merely as a ball of fire in the sky. It was a living force, a divine presence whose journey shaped the destiny of the world. In their mythology, the fading of sunlight in autumn was not only a seasonal event, but a cosmic drama, a struggle between powers of light and darkness. Legends told of gods and heroes who battled in the shadowed half of the year. Some myths describe the sun as a hero descending into the underworld, facing trials before its rebirth at the winter solstice. Darkness, in this view, was not evil in itself, but a necessary counterpart, the place of rest, renewal, and hidden transformation. Samhain embodied this mythic balance. It was the time when the sun's strength diminished, when light gave way to shadow, and when the world seemed to teeter on the edge of chaos. To the Celts, these cosmic changes echoed within human life. The fading of youth into age, the passing of generations, the endless dance of life and death. Through myth, the Celts found meaning in the heavens. The setting sun became a story, the lengthening nights a reminder that darkness is part of creation, not its enemy. In celebrating Samhain, they honored not only the visible sun, but the unseen mysteries it symbolized. The Celtic world was filled with monuments that reflected a deep dialogue with the sky. These were not random constructions, but carefully placed markers, aligned with the movements of the sun and stars, designed to connect the earthly with the cosmic. One of the most striking examples is Newgrange in Ireland, a passage tomb older than the pyramids of Egypt. On the morning of the winter solstice, the rising sun shines through its narrow passage, illuminating the inner chamber for just a few minutes each year. For the builders, this was not an accident of architecture, but a statement. Life and light return, even in the deepest darkness. Other sites, such as stone circles, standing stones, and hilltop enclosures, reveal similar patterns. Some align with the solstices, others with equinoxes, and still others may have marked the cross-quarter days like Samhain. These alignments suggest that the Celts wove their rituals into the very fabric of the cosmos, ensuring that human ceremonies resonated with celestial rhythms. In this way, sacred sites were more than places of worship. They were instruments for harmonizing life with the universe, architectural prayers carved in stone. To stand in these spaces was to stand at the intersection of earth and sky, body and spirit, time and eternity. For the Celts, astronomy was never just about measuring time. It was about aligning the soul with the universe. The cycles of the sun and stars were seen as mirrors of human existence: birth and death, growth and decline, light and shadow. To live in harmony with these rhythms was to live in harmony with the sacred order of creation. Samhain stood at the heart of this spiritual cosmology. As the sun weakened and darkness grew, the Celts saw this not as a defeat, but as a necessary passage. Just as the sun would be reborn at the winter solstice, so too could the soul move through death into renewal. The cosmic alignment gave shape to a spiritual truth. Endings are not destruction, but transformation. The rituals of Samhain, fire, offerings, masks, divination, were ways of synchronizing human life with cosmic change. By honoring both ancestors and the turning heavens, the Celts ensured that their communities were not only physically prepared for winter, but spiritually prepared for the mystery of death and rebirth. In this way, Samhain was more than a festival. It was a reminder that humanity belongs to the cosmos, woven into its eternal cycle. Every flicker of flame, every star in the night sky spoke of the same truth, that life and spirit flow in endless rhythm with the universe. Samhain was never only about harvest or spirits. It was about the sky itself, the great clock of the cosmos that shaped both myth and ritual. By watching the sun and stars, the Celts saw reflections of their own lives, light fading into shadow, death preparing the way for renewal, and the eternal cycle of transformation. In this episode, we have seen how astronomy, myth, and spirituality were inseparable for the Celts. To honor Samhain was to honor the cosmos, to recognize that humanity moves not apart from the heavens, but within their rhythm. Yet the story of Samhain does not end in ancient fields and starry nights. In our next episode, we will explore how this festival of cosmic cycles and ancestral spirits transformed into something familiar to us all, the origins of modern Halloween.